The exhibition of David Maljković at Cukrarna Gallery establishes a marking system that embodies the position of painting through the practice itself, following its transposition into other media. The exhibition does not just represent an overview of Maljković's recent paintings, but showcases a particular idea about painting, its action as well as meaning in a broader context. On view are works from 2017 to the present, in which the Zagreb-based artist searches for new pictorial relations, thereby opening up new semantic processes. In these processes, not only the persona of the painter and the viewer, but also reflections on painting and art in general are at stake. As in his earlier projects, David Maljković relates to the heritage of the southeastern European avant-garde. This becomes evident in the cycle of The Missing Master, which the visitor sees immediately when entering the exhibition space. For the creation of the figure of the Missing Master, David Maljković has drawn to an archetype of avant-garde costume by Ukrainian artist Anatol Petritsky. In this painting, the motif of the 1920s, or as David Maljković states, another painter's voice becomes the vehicle for the painting process. These paintings, shown at both ends of the long wall, introduce a different painterly approach. David Maljković overpainted 9 of his works from different periods and styles with the motif of a drawing for a stage design by Ljubljana, which the Croatian artist created in 1918 for Verdi's opera Otello. In these works, the motif became an element of overpainting, taking it beyond its given role and meaning, and thus transcending into a new reality and pictorial consideration. In this process of overpainting, an insecurity accompanies the act of painting that lends the works a particular fragility and intimacy. The same principle applies to Overpaint with Shadows from 2023 that derives from Babic's stage design for the play Shadows, which materializes solely through light and shadow. Building upon the drawing of the scenography, David Maljković overpainted the previous painting so that the shadow itself becomes ambiguous and restless. With An Ancient Visitor, David Maljković created another stunning image constellation of space and time by linking the painting with a historical motif of the Egyptian physician, who merges with the painter's figure in the architectural and semantic layers of the painting. In this example of motif construction, the act of painting becomes an act of healing the gaze, and the motif itself exceeds its given role. It, in fact, now finds itself in the arena of a completely different reality and reflection. Indeed, these motifs of the painter have become characters, and their roles change in the processes of painting. Regardless of the changing behavior of these characters, calibration of the viewing experience and various roles that the motifs assume represent links to the very painting construction. Searching for his master's voice, David Maljković conceived a pictorial event based on the geometries of the golden ratio. He appropriated and annihilated at the same time a motif which is a figure taken from an advertisement commissioned by the firm Albert Breyer, a distributor of gramophones and of records released by the British label His Master's Voice, founded in 1901 by the Gramophone Company Limited. The Croatian artist Sergej Glumac designed this advertisement in 1929. With this work, as well as with An Ancient Visitor, a question which Filipa Oliveira posed arises. Is the model an element from the outside world that the artist is entrusted? By whom? Who is the master behind the voice, as suggested by the titles of some of the works? To depict the landscape or an object, for example? Or is the model the painting, the elements that compose it, or even the painter himself? The paintings create multi-layered pictorial constellations of space and time, which interpenetrate each other, thus opening up new semantic processes of reflection on painting and art in general. Years Without a Codebook encompasses these interpenetrations in the best sense. The architecture of the painting itself encompasses the set design, costume design, and, in these different constructions, creates a whole. And that whole, created from cause and effect sequences, opens up questions about language, today's fragmented particularity, and the materiality of our time. We move forward. The exhibition opens panoramically, and we find ourselves inside a pictorial landscape where our eye meanders between objects and paintings. These objects come from previous times and exhibitions, when the artist used them as raw material for creating new works. As much as these earlier methods of recycling form and content refused to be fixed into one finished form, they find their place in conversation with the paintings in this exhibition. For example, in the works forthcoming 2021, the easels function as pictorial visitors, seen not only as the exhibition's spatial articulation, but also as representatives of the disposition of various other spaces. The gallery, the artist's studio, and even the heritage itself, since the easels were taken from the Academy of Fine Arts in Zagreb, which the artist attended. While moving from one object to another and interacting with the paintings, a major part of the exhibition space remains empty. This section becomes the space for the viewer and, according to David Maljković, an active space that enables the position of the gaze. The artist takes us thus on a striking, multi-layered journey in which we immerse ourselves into the complexity of time that no longer unfolds through the logic of a linear sequence.